Hello and a lovely evening to you. Welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. The nation's security chiefs Friday say they are keeping close watch on the trend of events as they unfold and are ready to quash any security threat to the existence of the country. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar says the nation's armed forces are in receipt of aircraft and some of the equipment ordered to execute the fight against Boko Haram, and assures Nigerians that the threat from criminal elements and insurgents will soon be a thing of the past. This was at a security meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed formal appreciation to his presidential legal team for firmly securing the political mandate of Nigerians and safeguarding the nation's upward trajectory to the next level. This was during a special dinner he hosted in their honor. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has that.
The special dinner was put together by President Muhammadu Buhari to honor and appreciate his legal team led by Chief Wole Olanipekun SAN for creditably defending his presidential mandate in the lower courts. The president said by securing a convincing and unanimous legal victory at the Supreme Court, the team of lawyers effectively defended the will freely expressed by the nation's majority through the ballot box.
I must commend you all for the outstanding legal successes recorded, with particular emphasis on effective legal strategy that triumphed. In piloting my presidential election litigation, you creditably demonstrated a deep understanding of the law and its practices. I am indeed proud of you all. Your enormous contributions have affirmed the rule of law and further entrenched democratic governance in Nigeria.
Describing the lead counsel, Chief Wole Olanipekun SAN, as a man of tenacity and tactfulness, President Muhammadu Buhari specially applauded the learned counsels for effectively strategizing a legal battle that triumphed.
I must note that the aforesaid legal successes recorded through Your Excellency have assisted me in fulfilling this government's desire for a better Nigeria. I saw by the Holy Book that I will go by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I will continue to do my best, and I hope at the end of 2023 I can hand over quietly to whoever succeeds.
Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami told the president that his legal team is what Nigeria needs to fully entrench democracy, good governance, and the rule of law.
Beyond shared aspirations and genuine admiration of your person, Your Excellency, Mr. President, these gentlemen and women have demonstrated in this first assignment what true professionalism is all about.
The petitions were won and lost on law and facts, not on influence. The courts were allowed to do their job. The Court of Appeal, Mr. President, I must congratulate you, I must commend you, sir. Nobody whispered to any one of us, how are we going to see Judge A or Judge B? I don't mind being quoted, nobody. And Your Excellency, that is the way it should be. On behalf of all of us, we promise to continue giving Mr. President and his administration unflinching support, encouragement, assistance.
The legal team presented to the president a certified 2 copies of the judgments they have obtained for him from 2015 to date. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has left Abuja for London, the British capital, ahead of the inaugural UK-Africa Investment Summit beginning on Monday. The president, accompanied by governors of Abia, Gombe and Kogi states, was seen off at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by Minister of the FCT, Mohammed Musa Bello, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, Permanent Secretary of the State House, Jalal Arabi, Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, and other senior government officials. The London Investment Summit is expected to create new partnerships that will deliver more investments and jobs to the benefit of people and businesses in African countries and the United Kingdom. Apart from highlighting new perspectives on UK-Africa Partnership for Prosperity, issues of sustainable finance and infrastructure, trade and investment, future African growth sectors, and clean energy will also dominate discussions at the summit. With the expected takeoff of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement this year, the summit will provide Nigeria with the opportunity to project itself as a leading investment destination for new industries, as well as deepen Nigeria-United Kingdom investment ties post-Brexit era. While in the United Kingdom, President Buhari and his delegation will have bilateral meetings with the British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, as well as heads of multilateral organizations. Nigeria foreign direct investment has risen over the years in volumes and values, going by quarterly reports from 2008 to 2019 as published by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The country's foreign direct investment, FDI, increased by $498.6 million in September 2019, compared to an increase of $906.9 million in the previous quarter. The data reached an all-time high of $3.1 billion in December 2012 and a record low of $314.4 million in December 2018. Current foreign portfolio investment increased by $2.6 billion in September 2019. Development analysts say this expansion places Nigeria on high economic strength on the African continent. But why is Nigeria not making so much noise about this? Or is it a situation of words speak louder than voice? We have Ogbonna Okuku, an investment expert, to shed more light on this. You're welcome to Nationwide.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Now, what could be responsible for the steady rise in foreign direct investment and the subsequent impact on the nation's foreign exchange reserve?
Yeah, first things first, let's look at what are the things that are, attract investment into any given any location. You need to now look at the character of an investor. Investors are always resource seeking, both natural and human resource. They seek for that. Then number two, they seek for a place where there is large market for whatever it is that they are producing or whatever they have, services they have to provide. And number three, they look at efficiency in the system. I'll dwell on this a bit because this is actually where the real issue is. Where do you have good legal system in your environment? Do you have the incentives that you have for investors, the transportation, the cost of even doing business in your country? How efficient is your country? And then the last thing that they seek out for is, do you have some strong strategic asset that they will be interested in putting their monies in? Because when the assets already existing, just like what you have in Itakbe or you have in Ajokuta today, that people want to put their money in because they're already in existence, so that means the money won't go down the drain. So now let me go back to why are they coming? They're coming because you are looking at the ease of doing business in Nigeria, that perception we're giving to the entire globe that actually these things we can increase in our efficiency in doing business. Because like I said, investors don't have time to waste because that same money they can put it in bonds, they can put it in transactions that they'll be yielding income. But when they want to do huge investments, when they want to move from where they are, there has to be something that will be attracting them, which is the efficiency that I've been talking about. So the efforts that we have put in as a people to make sure that the efficiency that increase in efficiency is one of the things that's pulling them. Like I said earlier, we have natural resources, which is also very attractive, and then our human capital development index is quite high.
Okay, now in relation to the ease of doing business, like you earlier mentioned, how does this relate to the reforms of the federal government? How does the development relate?
No, it's just a simple. You see, if you everything remains in its present state until a particular force is applied. Unless because of as you see the reforms come, the outcome is, the environment become a little bit more pleasant for investors. For us to have gone up, 36 places, in ease of doing business, because there are reforms being pursued by the government. The government have seen it. There are certain things you cannot achieve if we want to diversify the economy. An investor is looking at very minute things, as simple as how long will it take me to move my goods from Macmillan bus stop in Ibadan to Lagos or to Aja in Lagos. Those are the things that they have to look at. If I have to move goods and I leave it to prayers, no. Where I'm coming from, these are people, don't forget, if it's foreign direct investment, we're talking about people who are coming from other climes where things work. So they have to see things from their own prism. So if you're not giving them what they are used to, it will be difficult for them to come and do business in your country.
Okay, aside from what you've mentioned now, what else do you think is responsible for boosting investor confidence? What else?
Again, see, if you notice, if you look at those records, you see before the election, the flow of investment dropped. Why? Because there was a lot of uncertainties. Now, another thing is, everybody have seen that, yes, the government, there's a second term the government is now in their second term in office. So they are sure that there won't be, policy somersault. They are sure there's going to be consistency. This is another thing when there's change in government. So investors are also wondering, they'll be on the fence, they'll stand on the fence to know what decisions are you going to take as a people? Are you going to, vote back the same people? If you vote back the same people, they will come back, because that's how they are. So that's another thing, because there's consistency in government, so it will also help boost their confidence.
Okay, now finally, how will this impact the local economy?
You see, it's very simple. Okay, when you see income from oil or which is what we have been using to run the economy, is actually not sufficient. Now, if you have a more palatable or a more efficient system where people want to bring in their money to, so let's say they bring money into the power sector. Now, the monies that you'd have expended on power sector, you will use it for the healthcare or something else. So that is how it impacts. And then number two, it's going to be creating a lot of job in your economy, because when I put in money to set up factories or set up a farm or a processing plant, that's job being created. So those things have direct impact on the economy. And then again, don't forget that when you bring in foreign direct investment, comes with transfer of technology. So it also gives room for your locals to learn new things, new technologies, and also there's so many more other things. The little time we have won't be enough for us to enumerate all.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts on this foreign direct investment.
All right.
We appreciate your presence.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thank you. We've been talking to Ogbonna Okuku, an investment expert, talking on foreign direct investment. Thank you. Now let's join Jennifer in Lagos for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Lydia. Thank you for joining us in Lagos. Now we'll start with a building collapse that happened at Agor-Okota area of Lagos. The three-story building under construction collapsed on Friday in the early hours of the morning. Although no life was lost, a construction worker was rescued from the rubble by officials of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA. The Director General of the agency, Olufemi Oson-Itolu, supervised the demolition of the remains of the structure. The impact affected a structure adjacent to the collapsed building, We have more details of this later. Now, the Lagos State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested one suspect for human trafficking and rescued 4 victims in the process. The suspect was apprehended when deliberation on payment of transportation to Mali broke down. Michael Olaleye reports.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, last year received an intelligence report that around 20,000 Nigerian girls have been forced into prostitution and domestic slavery in Mali. 19-year-old Victoria was once in this category 3 years ago, and the entire 12 months spent in Mali was basically to offset a debt of 500,000 CFA paid for her freedom in Cotonou. Victoria, still nursing the ambition of seeking greener pasture elsewhere aside Mali, reignited old contacts but had a rethink when the prize was named.
Last 2 weeks, when I enter online, I could see the boy, and I know the boy before, through Mali. So the boy could tell me, may I find one girl giver. But I said, okay, fine, we'll go Lagos, we'll go see the woman. So the woman could tell say, nah, Senegal we they go. We won't go balance 1 million for that side.
The suspect, Omowumi Michael of number 13 Abulioki Street, Yanokwaja, who claimed innocent of the crime, has spent 2 years in Mali.
I used to carry food stuff and go there, but I used to do nothing. Then themselves, they are there before, but they know everything. They know everybody is there. They have madam here.
Within 4 months of his assumption of office as the Lagos State Commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, more than 50 cases of human trafficking have been reported.
Security is everybody's business. So everybody should be up and doing to give useful information to us.
Among the 4 victims rescued, one of them was reported to have had a baby from her first escapade to Mali. The 4 victims and suspects will be handed over to the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
Now to the environment. The role of traditional leaders in protecting and restoring the Nigerian environment was the focus of the lecture on environmental conservation and development in Lagos. The guest speaker, the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence, Mohammed Saad Abubakar, enumerated tactical approach to environmental management. Certification, solid waste management, oil spills, water and air pollution, flooding, erosion, sea level rise, and climate change are some of the environmental challenges affecting Nigeria today.
We need mass sensitization, creation of awareness, and then mass mobilization. Everybody to do what he can.
The weight of the ecological challenges was strong enough to pull the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence, Mohammed Saad Abubakar, out of his palace in Sokoto all the way to Lagos to lend his voice on tactical ways of addressing environmental problems bedeviling the nation. The Sultan, who was guest speaker at the 18th Chief SL Edu Memorial Lecture, gave insightful advices on the need for a paradigm shift in environmental protection and restoration.
There has to be a very clear political will by political leadership. We should be prepared to put the funds where they are not being. Otherwise, we shall continue with the usual lip service while the degradation of the environment continues unabated.
Whichever village you go down to the roots, you will find a traditional ruler, and when they own and disperse this message, it's most likely to get through.
The annual lecture is in honor of one of Nigeria's foremost environmentalists, the late Chief Shafi Lawal Edu, founder of the Nigerian Conservation Foundation. That's a contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues after this break. Stay with us.
The news now continues in Abuja. The Zanfara State Governor, Bello Muhammad, has commiserated with the families of slain victims of the recent bandits' attack in Gumi and Zulumi local government areas of the state and called for calm as the perpetrators are being pursued by combined security operatives. A statement from the Governor's Special Advisor on Media and Communication, Zailani Bappa, noted that the incident reminds the world of the dark days Zanfara State was plunged into the past. The statement says Governor Mohammed promised to continue with the roadmap to the attainment of everlasting peace in the state, just as repentant bandits in the state have resolved to assist security operatives in dealing with deviants amongst them. Meanwhile, Zanfara State government recently conceived the idea of establishing a rural grazing area at each of the 3 senatorial districts as part of strategy to achieving lasting peace in the state. The Zanfara State Commissioner of Works and Transport, Ibrahim Issa Mayana, who inspected the ongoing pilot Ruga project in Maradun local government area, expressed confidence that the work will be completed by April this year. Haliru Mohammed Umar reports.
The Zanfara State Commissioner of Works and Transport and his team were in the state's West Senatorial District to inspect the ongoing construction of the Ruga project in Maradun local government area. The delegation was conducted around the project by the site manager, who briefed them on various aspects of the work, which he said is going on smoothly in accordance with the specifications.
The only correction I have given them, they should do a lot of curing. Curing in the sense that they should water the blocks, the plaster. These are the very important things, but the workmanship is okay.
The delegation also inspected the Dambaza Maradun 9.2 kilometer road project and the 8 kilometer road and 2 bridges of 5 spans being constructed in Talata Mafara local government area, where the commissioner appreciated the contractor for a job well done. Alhaji Ibrahim Issa Mayana, however, expressed dismay over what he termed incessant delay and shoddy work at the construction of Maradun Magami Faru Road, awarded by the state government at the cost of more than 5.9 billion naira. Meanwhile, the community leaders appealed to the state government to ensure the completion of a substantial part of the project before this year's rainy season sets in. In Gusau, Haliru Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
Next report from Yola says the Federal Ministry of Water Resources has assured Nigerians of better service delivery through effective, caring and responsive manner in line with its mandate. Tafawa Hamza Mayo reports that this was at the opening of the 4th quarterly meeting of Servicom focal officers of the agencies under the ministry.
These are Servicom focal officers from the 12 river basin development authorities in the country. They are in Yola to brainstorm on how to improve service delivery.
We go around our project offices, we gather our customers, the contractors, the Water Users Association, the farmers. We gather them, then we enlighten them more.
Through ethics, when you have the right attitude, then service is going to be delivered.
At the end, the focal officers maintain that good service delivery provides clients an increase in value, knowing that public service needs positive and right attitude. In Yola, Tafawa Hamza Mayo, NTA News.
Reports reaching us states that resident doctors in the FCT have commenced emergency services in the FCT hospitals while they plan to meet for a final decision. The president of the Association of Resident Doctors, Roland Agbovo, said their decision to commence the emergency services is based on the appeal by the Minister of State FCT, Dr. Ramatu Tijani Aliyu. President Muhammadu Buhari has joined the family and friends of the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, on his 87th birthday. The President Buhari, in a congratulatory message to the renowned diplomat, commended his efforts towards projecting Nigeria and also ensuring that the world comes to terms with the position of the country on global issues. The President extols Chief Anyaoku's statesmanship and unwavering conviction on the unity of the country, with his regular encouragement of Nigerian leaders to follow the path of honor in making sacrifices that will secure the future of the country and be remembered by posterity. The President prays that the Almighty God will grant Chief Anyaoku longer life, good health, and more strength to keep using his wealth of experience to serve the country. Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act states clearly that people with physical deformities should have equal rights like every other person, and that is full integration in the society. It is in this regard that a sensitization roadshow was organized, and Hakimat Aliu is standing by to tell us what happened.
Behind me is a roadshow organized by the Center for Citizens with Disability, and it's coming exactly 1 year after signing into law the National Disability Act by President Muhammadu Buhari. I'm here with Musa Muazu, the Program Officer, Center for Citizens with Disability, who's going to tell us more on this roadshow and why they are here at the Federal Ministry of Justice. Let's meet you.
Okay, thank you very much. We're actually here to speak to the Ministry of Justice as as the custodians of the law of the land, because the President of this country on the 17th of January 2019, he has put his assent to the Nigerian Disability Bill, which becomes an act. However, 365 days after that act was signed, no implementation strategy has been put in place.
The roadshow, which picked up from the Unity Fountain, with a stop at the Federal Ministry of Justice and through the Federal Secretariat, climaxing at the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
I want to assure you that the Office of the Secretary of the Government of the Federation has been doing very well on people with disability and providing all the necessary facilities to enhance their productivity.
This would fast-track the implementation of the Disability Act, which they say will translate to better opportunities for the millions of Nigerians living with disabilities.
Thank you, Hakimat. An FCT High Court sitting in Kubwa, Abuja, has affirmed its earlier order that Ifeanyi Ubah should vacate the Anambra South senatorial seat for being involved in certificate forgery. Justice Bello Kawu's order is as a result of an application by the senatorial candidate of the People's Democratic Party, George Uzo. The PDP candidate filed a suit alleging that Ifeanyi Ubah of the Young Progressives Party, YPP, used a forged NECO result to contest the 2019 senatorial election. Ubah had on 11th April 2019 filed a stay of execution on the judgment, saying he was not giving fair hearing as he was not served with the court processes to enable him defend himself. The court in its judgment this Friday overruled Ubah's application to vacate its earlier judgment and directed INEC to retrieve the certificate of return from Ubah and issue it to Judge Uzo of the PDP. The case was instituted by a member of the electorate from the senatorial district, Chuka Anani. Still on politics, Coalition of All Progressives Congress support groups want the party's National Working Committee to lift suspension on some of its executives. This, group said, will boost efforts of national reconciliation and fast-track the entrenchment of APC ideology under the leadership of Adams Oshomole. The coalition commended and aligned itself with the plan of the National Working Committee to fill the vacant leadership position. Time to join Chinyere in Enugu for contribution to Nationwide from that axis.
Thank you, Lydia, and welcome to Enugu Network Center. Worried by the difficulties faced by the physically challenged persons in Abia State, Governor Okezie Ikpeazu has distributed 40 mobility cards to some physically challenged persons in Abia Central Senatorial Zone to ease their mobility challenges. Chinyere Okolie tells us more.
Governor Ikpeazu, while distributing the mobility cards, described it as his own way of appreciating God for giving him victory at the Supreme Court and to also make the physically challenged persons feel the impact of his governance. The governor, who expressed sadness over the ordeal of the physically challenged persons in Abia State, disclosed his intention of acquiring motorized machines to further encourage them to be productive.
A few days after our victory in the Supreme Court, this is the best way to return thanks and adoration to God Almighty. We would have gone to one of our churches, but I said that it would be nice for me to seize the opportunity of the joy in our hearts in Abia to spend some time with you.
The state women leader of the fiscally challenged persons in Abia State commended the governor for introducing policies that have positively affected the lives of the disabled in the state.
We also call upon the senators representing the 3 geopolitical zones. We call upon the Federal House of Representatives to come and emulate these kind gestures that the governor has done for persons with disabilities.
Others who spoke described the gesture by the governor as laudable, adding that it will go a long way in ameliorating the sufferings of the fiscally challenged in the state. In Omoeha Chinyere Okoli, NTA News.
As Nigeria prepares to host the 2020 Para-powerlifting World Cup Championship, February this year, wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, patron of the Para-powerlifting Federation, has been commended for her efforts in ensuring the success of the event and commitment to the welfare of people with disabilities in Nigeria. The Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi gave the commendations in Enugu at a dinner organized to raise funds for the Abuja 2020 Para-powerlifting World Cup. Susan Eze reports.
Rendering support and encouragement to the less privileged for the wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, is a passion, hence her commitment to the development of the para sports in Nigeria. As Grand Patron of the Para Weightlifting Federation, Mrs. Buhari is equally committed to the success of the Abuja 2020 Para-powerlifting World Cup. Represented by the wife of the former governor of Nasarawa State, Dr. Mrs. Meiro Al-Makura, the First Lady thanked the Enugu State Governor for accepting to host the fundraising ceremony for the Games.
It's going to be an achievement for all, and we should do everything possible to make our country and Africa proud.
Enugu State, having produced a 3-time gold and 2-time silver medalist, Lucy Ejike, according to the State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, is in the vanguard of protecting the rights of people with special needs. He appreciated the First Lady for her interest in this noble cause.
Our country will be hosting Para-powerlifting World Cup for the first time. This clearly underscores Her Excellency's leadership qualities as a pace-setter.
Senator Melaye observed that the para sports has brought much honor and glory to the nation in the past. Hence, it needs much attention.
And these people have brought laurels to this country, they brought dignity to this country, and I think it is time for the country, and indeed the federal government, to take these sports more seriously.
Nigeria is to host the 2020 Para-powerlifting World Cup in Abuja from February 4th to 7th. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Enugu. Is back to Lydia in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Chinyere. Ondo State Magistrate Court at Oke-Eda, Akure, has ordered founder of Shotitobire Miracle Church, Prophet Babatunde Alfa, to remain in Olokuta Correctional Center, pending the issuance of hearing notice by the State House Court. Prophet Alfa and 5 others were remanded at the center on December 23, 2019, over alleged disappearance of a 1-year-old child from his church, Olajide Bello Hasmo.
Hearing of alleged kidnapping of a 1-year-old child against Prophet Babatunde Alfa and 5 others suffered a setback as the magistrate court precluded defense counsel from taking the bail application for the accused persons. The court insisted that hearing notice must be issued by the State High Court before bail application can be taken. The court maintained that since there was no evidence before it that hearing notice has been issued, the accused persons should remain in Olokuta Correctional Center till Friday, 14th February 2020.
The DPP appeared in court and informed the Honorable Court that the legal advice had been issued, and as a matter of fact, that information had been filed at the High Court. What it means, therefore, is that we are close to the termination of the holding charge proceedings at the High Court, at the Magistrate Court. It means also that by the next date of court, or once we have hearing notice from the High Court, proceedings at the Magistrate Court here will terminate.
Prophet Babatunde, founder of Shotitobire Miracle Center Akure, and 5 others are charged with felony, conspiracy and kidnapping of a 1-year-old child, Gold Kolawole, on November 10, 2019 in the church premises. From Akure, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
The issue of the girl child is key to the present women administration, which is why all ministries and key players have been called to come together to defeat this menace in the year 2020. The Minister for Women Affairs disclosed this on Good Morning Nigeria on prospects for Nigerian women in the year 2020. Butu Amila monitored the conversation.
The issue of the girl child is very, very significant, and I thank God Mr. President has taken that very seriously, yes, and he's given us the necessary support and backing. And both myself and the Minister of Education, we are working hand in hand to address this issue. Once the girl child is educated, most of the problems are solved, because educating the woman is educating the nation.
Educating a woman is educating the nation. Those were the keywords of the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talon, as she emphasized that all hands must be on deck to address the issue in the year 2020. The minister also mentioned that the federal government is mapping out strategies to end cases of sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria.
Particularly, I'm happy because the sex offenders register was also launched, and that gives a serious signal that nobody will be spared if caught. The name will be publicly, and we ensure that we'll continue to publicly put on the register.
However, other guests highlighted the importance of family planning and prosperous rise of women in the business sector.
We want to see women, transcend from this petty, trading, petty whatever, to becoming business moguls. We want to see more of women getting involved into high-level, business.
We are hopeful that we'll come to a stage where women will no longer die giving birth to children. As women, we are supposed to, have children, come out alive, and be able to take care of our children.
In Abuja, Butu Amila, NTA News.
And from Bauchi, Legionnaires' Wives Association of Nigeria has put smiles on the faces of some widows of fallen heroes and wives of ex-servicemen in Bauchi. As part of activities to mark this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day commemoration, Abbas Mekano reports that foodstuff and wrappers are among the items presented to beneficiaries.
These are wives of the ex-servicemen gathered at the Bauchi State chapter of the Nigerian Legion Secretariat on the invitation of the leadership of the Nigerian Legionnaires' Wives Association of Nigeria. The women, whom are mostly widows of the fallen heroes and left with children to cater for, were given assistance to reduce some of their sufferings in the spirit of 2020 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. The president, Legionnaires' Wives Association of Nigeria, Fatima Idris Danjuma, said the gesture is a routine activities of the association to put smiles on the faces of wives of the fallen heroes and appeal for more assistance from both government and wealthy individuals in the society to this category of people whose husbands died while protecting the survival and territorial integrity of Nigeria.
Their fathers, their husbands have fought for this country. And what will even hurt you is a lady of 18 years lost her husband in a battlefield and she's not taken care of.
The chairman, Bauchi State Chapter of the Nigerian Legion, Idris Danjuma Ningi, lamented that their children are often rejected during recruitment into various Nigeria's military and paramilitary services despite their qualifications.
What used to disturb me, whenever there is recruitment in the Nigerian army, we forward our children's name, nobody takes even one.
He appealed to both Bauchi State and the federal government to assist their members with farming implements, as many of them have been engaged into farming activities. In Bauchi, Abbas Mekano, NTA News.
It's now time to take another break on Nationwide. Don't go away. Thanks for staying. We now join Caleb in Jos for more reports on Nationwide. Over to you, Caleb.
Thank you, Lydia. Welcome.
The Zero Pothole Initiative of the Lalong-led administration in addressing bad roads within Jos and Bukuru metropolis is continuously attracting commendation from residents. Kim Gotts has the details.
Good road network plays key role in not only beautifying cities, but also serve as a driving force of economic activities and development of any nation. The ongoing road rehabilitation at Zamaganda, Dogondusi, Secretariat Junction and other parts of Jos is near completion as commuters and motorists now ply the roads with ease.
When they started, we thought it was going to be just patching the potholes, but the overlay we are experiencing is quite good. But we are very grateful to the governor because he has shown us the dividend of democracy.
The situation is, however, different at Jenta Adamu and New Market Road, as it was a Herculean task for residents and motorists to use the road. Road users and shop owners have expressed dissatisfaction over the absence of infrastructure in the area.
The road is very, very rough. Really very rough. We need to do something about it.
For the past 4.5 years, we've been suffering.
There was also slow pace of work at the ongoing construction of road at Dogon Karfi, as the contractors were not on site at the time of filing in this report. In Jos, Kim Gotts, NTA News.
To position the social investment program in Plateau State for enhanced productivity, the program is developing its staff capacity for effective performance in 2020. Bilkisu Nuhu reports.
Drawn from various units that make up the various intervention programs, the workshop seeks to keep staff abreast with challenges that relate to the work environment.
It has become necessary to boost the morale of the SIP staff to do more. We are aware that sound health, focused mind, committed spirit, among others, are drivers of enhanced productivity.
I tell you that when you go back, those chain of commands under you should also benefit from the knowledge that you have acquired today so that we have a better society.
Speakers at the training emphasized the need for staff to take care of their health, which is paramount in the discharge of their duty, as well as preparing adequately for their retirement.
You are all involved. You have to take that decision that I'm going to be more proactive on my way of life to prevent the diseases, and then so that we can prolong life.
It does not mean that you are going to die suddenly. But because we never prepare for it, so many challenges that come up, you see people dying prematurely.
Typical of every training session, question and answers were entertained.
They call for you to start planning for your retirement age.
I've learned about the importance of wellness.
This is the first activity lined up for 2020 by the Social Investment Program in Jos. Bilkisu Nuhu, NTA News.
And that's it from Jos. Lydia, it's back to you.
Many thanks, Caleb. We now bring you our very first story where President Muhammadu Buhari held a security meeting with security chiefs, and Jide Onifade has that.
It is the fourth security meeting between the president and the security chiefs. The last of its kind was held on the 30th of December 2019. The meeting is to critically evaluate what the armed forces of Nigeria, as well as other security and intelligence agencies, are doing with regard to ensuring that the territorial integrity of Nigeria is not undermined by any individual or group of individuals. Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, briefed the press after the meeting.
We are satisfied with the progress we are making. We are satisfied with the support that the federal government is giving the armed forces and other security agencies in terms of procurement of platforms. A substantial number of this equipment are expected by the end of February. Some of the equipment we are acquiring have started arriving. For the Nigerian Air Force, 2 helicopter gunships have arrived on the 15th of January.
He says other equipment meant for the armed forces of Nigeria is expected by the end of February.
What we want to do here is to reassure Nigerians that the armed forces of Nigeria and indeed security and intelligence agencies in Nigeria are going to continue to work round the clock to ensure that our country is secured and to ensure that nobody undermines the territorial integrity of and national sovereignty of Nigeria.
Air Marshal Abubakar says the country is doing everything with the other sister countries in the Lake Chad Basin to ensure that the Boko Haram terrorism is brought substantially to an end as quickly as possible.
Our appeal is for all Nigerians and other stakeholders to join hands with the armed forces of Nigeria and other security and intelligence agencies to ensure that our country is secured, rather than looking at other methods that are likely going to negate the national policing and community policing policy that the federal government has approved.
Chief of Air Staff said what is expected from local government, state government, and other stakeholders is to join hands with the security agencies to ensure that the country is secured. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
Redefining tourism as a business and improving its digital presence will be the focus of developing the industry in 2020. Director General, Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation, NTDC, Folorunsho Koka, made this known while briefing journalists of the tourism outlook in 2020. Oyinaya Kaluoka was there.
Increasing attention has been focused on tourism development as an important growth sector for many countries. Tourism has been identified as one of the largest employees of labor because of its activities in the value chain.
Tourism can take care of 35% of all the issue of unemployment in Nigeria.
Nigerians' culture is said to be evolving, and one of the best ways of projecting the new medium of cultural expression in music, fashion, art, food, and festivals is embracing the digital platform.
We'll be querying and getting our own information and making up our own minds. That is the difference that the future holds, and I feel that the relationships with people like Google and Wikipedia are really the way everybody should be going now.
Records from the National Film and Video Census Board show that in 2018, tourism contributed 34% to the gross domestic product, and in 2019, the Nigerian movies generated about 7 billion naira in cinemas alone. The Director General NTDC, Folorunsho Koka, says the sector will be redefined to do better this year.
In Morocco, Richard Branson owns a resort. He's not from Marrakesh, he's from England. He came there, saw something like Obudu, bought it, refurbished it, and is running it. Because the legal framework for tourism to exist as a business and allow a foreigner to come and invest is there. That's what I'm looking for.
Establishing a tourism legal framework, reviving the national carrier, more funding, and implementing the visa on arrival policy to African visitors were identified as key factors to the growth of the tourism industry in 2020. Oyinaya Kaluoka, NTA News.
Sports update is next with Tamara Ebiwe.
Grassroots sports take center stage in 2020 with series of competitions and programs lined up to aid the discovery of modern talents across the country by the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development.
Apart from National Youth Games, we are going to be involved in the Headmasters Cup for primary schools. We are going to be involved in the Principals Cup, which is for secondary schools. We are going to be involved more proficiently in Awesome Games, which is meant for military and paramilitary personnel in the country.
The main bowl of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, is agog with activities as about 80 para-athletes converge for a two-day national trials ahead of the International Para-Athletics Championships built for Dubai, March 14 to 17.
I'm hopeful because looking at the performance, what I threw, I think it's enough for me to be selected.
It's those that are sure that their speed is a particular limit, or the throws, there are high limits and lower limits, so it's not an all-comers affair.
The Dubai Championships in March.
And that ends Nationwide. We do thank you for watching. I am Lydia Odijochi. Have a pleasant evening.